On December 29, 2024, what started as a normal afternoon quickly turned into a terrible night. The skies were clear, and everything seemed routine. Jeju Air Flight 2216, a Boeing 737-800 traveling from Bangkok, Thailand, was about to land at Muan International Airport in South Korea. The flight had been smooth, and the passengers were preparing for arrival. The flight, with 179 people on board, was just minutes from landing when something awful happened. The pilots were in their final approach, and the passengers were buckled in, ready to disembark. Instead of landing safely, the plane crashed, bursting into flames. The impact was devastating, and the aircraft was quickly engulfed in a massive fireball. This was one of South Korea's worst plane crashes. Emergency response teams rushed to the scene, battling the flames and searching for survivors amidst the wreckage. Sadly, only 2 crew members lived. The survivors were quickly taken to nearby hospitals, but the loss was immense. The burning wreckage showed how bad the crash was. The scene was chaotic, with emergency personnel working tirelessly to control the fire and recover bodies. Everyone in South Korea was shocked and sad, and the government started investigating right away to find out what went wrong. The nation mourned the tragic loss, and memorials were held to honor the victims. The last moments of Flight 2216 were very scary. At first, the plane seemed to be landing normally, but then, the pilot suddenly pulled the plane back up, which worried everyone. The plane tried to land again, but the control tower warned them about a bird near the airport. 2 minutes later, the pilot sent out a mayday call. Things went from bad to worse really fast. The mayday call meant the plane was in serious trouble. After the crash, everyone wanted to know why it happened. Investigators focused on the black boxes, which record what happens during a flight. These boxes are built to survive even the worst crashes. Experts from South Korea, the United States, and Boeing worked hard to figure out what happened. They looked at every piece of the plane, trying to find clues. They looked at everything: problems with the plane, mistakes by the pilots, and even the weather. At first, there were no engine experts on the team, which made some people wonder if the engines were the problem. Figuring out why the plane crashed was like putting together a difficult puzzle. Each piece of evidence had to be carefully examined and understood in the context of the entire incident. The investigation team worked tirelessly, sifting through the wreckage and analyzing every detail. A passenger said they saw a bird hit the plane, and the control tower had also warned about a bird. Bird strikes are a known hazard in aviation, and they can cause significant damage to an aircraft. Birds hitting planes is somewhat common, but it can be dangerous if it damages the engines or makes it hard to control the plane. The engines are particularly vulnerable, and a bird strike can lead to catastrophic failure. Another big problem was the landing gear. The landing gear is crucial for a safe landing, and any malfunction can lead to a disaster. People saw that the front landing gear didn't come down, which meant something was wrong with the plane. This malfunction added another layer of complexity to the investigation. Videos of the crash also showed up online. These videos provided valuable insights and helped the investigators piece together the sequence of events leading up to the crash. Some experts who watched the videos thought there might have been a problem with the engines. The footage showed signs that the engines might have been struggling before the crash. Engines are super important for keeping a plane in the air, so the investigators looked at them very carefully. They examined every component, searching for any signs of failure or malfunction that could explain the crash. The crash of Flight 2216 was a terrible shock to South Korea and the whole world. The tragedy left a deep scar on the hearts of many, and the images of the crash site were broadcasted globally, bringing tears to the eyes of millions. Losing 179 people was very sad, and it reminded everyone how important airplane safety is. Memorials were held across the country, with people coming together to mourn and remember the victims. Candlelight vigils illuminated the nights, symbolizing hope and a collective resolve to prevent such tragedies in the future. The South Korean government quickly started a big investigation and made stricter rules for airlines. Officials held press conferences to keep the public informed and to assure them that steps were being taken to enhance aviation safety. The Aviation Safety Committee worked tirelessly, reviewing every detail to ensure that such an incident would not happen again. Experts also started talking about how to make flying safer. Conferences and meetings were held where aviation safety experts from around the world gathered to share their knowledge and insights. They discussed new technologies and strategies that could be implemented to improve safety standards. Some experts talked about the concrete wall at the end of the runway. They analyzed its structure and debated whether it contributed to the severity of the crash. The consensus was that if the wall had been made of a softer material, it might have absorbed more impact and potentially saved lives. They thought that if the wall was made of a softer material, maybe fewer people would have died. Structural engineers were brought in to inspect and suggest modifications to the existing barriers. Their goal was to design a safer environment that could better protect passengers in the event of an accident. They said airports should be built to be safer in a crash. New design plans were drawn up, focusing on enhancing the safety features of airports. Engineers reviewed these plans meticulously, ensuring that every aspect was optimized for safety. The investigation, even though it's complicated, is really important to stop crashes from happening again. The aviation investigation team worked around the clock, analyzing crash data and piecing together the events that led to the tragedy. Their findings would be crucial in preventing future accidents. By looking closely at what happened and making planes safer, hopefully, accidents like this won't happen in the future. Engineers and safety experts collaborated to design new safety features for airplanes, and training sessions were conducted to ensure that everyone in the aviation industry was well prepared to handle emergencies. The hope is that through these efforts, the skies will become safer for everyone.